Welcome to Total Retail Talks, your podcast channel for retail knowledge.
Hi everyone and welcome to episode 70 of Total Retail Talks. In today's episode, executive editor of Total Retail, Joe Keenan, sits down with Gordon Jaquay, Director of Information and Technology at Hickory Farms. Listen in as they discuss Hickory Farms' data integration project. And now, on to the show.
Hi, I'm Joe Keenan of Total Retail. I am here at the NRF Big Show. I am joined by Gordon Jaquay, who is the Director of Information Technology for Hickory Farms. So first off, thanks for joining me, Gordon.
Thank you for having me.
So we're going to talk a little bit about how Hickory Farms is working with Microsoft and specifically its Dynamics 365 product. And talk a little bit about that. But first, since we're here at NRF, just your initial thoughts of the show, anything you've seen so far or excited to see or to hear about?
Yeah, it's an exciting show. It's a great venue. So I'm excited about seeing some newer devices, line busters, things of that nature, but also some things to measure traffic patterns in malls, which is obviously specific to our retail side of the business. So I'm excited to see those things.
Okay, great. So then let's talk a little bit about how Hickory Farms is working with Microsoft and specifically kind of to digitally transform the business.
Sure. So from a digital transformation perspective, we came to the table with Microsoft as our preferred partner. We went through a pretty selective process through the ERP selection process. And it became very clear to us as we got into the details that Microsoft was the right partner for that, and Dynamics was the right partner for our business. We have 4 legacy systems that we're replacing on the Dynamics 365 for operations platform.
Okay. So maybe just, and I should probably have backtracked and started with this, but maybe just tell our audience a little bit about, I think most people are probably familiar with Hickory Farms, but for those that aren't, tell us a little bit about the business.
Sure. We're a food gifting retailer. We have been in that industry for 65 years, founded in Toledo, Ohio. And we're about a $100 million business, but I like to say that we run like a $1 billion business for about 8 weeks of the year.
Okay. And those 8 weeks of the year, I'm assuming you're just coming out of the holiday season?
That's correct. That's our holiday season, and I like to say that we're hyper-seasonal.
Okay.
In that we have a very big spike throughout that holiday season, and we ramp up about 500 to 600 kiosks, retail stores, locations throughout malls in the United States and Canada.
Okay. So prior to working with Microsoft, what were some of the challenges for Hickory Farms in specifically you mentioned operations and then inventory as well, two big kind of buckets there? Sure.
So operationally, as you can imagine, with 4 different legacy systems, those were built, kind of in silos for each of our channels. We play in the retail channel, direct channel, and then our wholesale channel, and then of course supply chain on the back end of that. So as we brought those together and we're bringing that data together operationally, that's always a challenge. So from that piece, that leads directly to the inventory visibility and just general inventory management issues that can come with having 4 different systems. So when we looked at Microsoft, when we looked at ERP in general, we were looking for a way to get consolidated, get all of our people working in the same systems, looking at the same information.
Yeah. You mentioned the business silos and sort of the wholesale, direct, and so how has you've been able to streamline this process and make it more an efficient organization by sort of breaking down those barriers and having data freely flow between the business units?
Yeah, so just inventory visibility, the analytics themselves, the efficiency that's going to come from having all the information in one place just out of the box, just by default, will be significantly better for the organization, significantly more efficient, having really good visibility at our retail locations as well, real time, which we don't have today. It's a process to get them the information they need today, and it's going to be great to have that real time information, in our associates' hands when they need it.
Okay. And then you haven't gone live yet on the Microsoft 365 platform, correct?
Correct. April 30th, we go live with the back-end piece, so the supply chain function along with our direct and our wholesale channels. And then October 1st would be phase 2 go live, and that will be for the retail point of sale. So we will have the entire system in for our 2017 season.
Gotcha. So then maybe looking ahead, what are the business benefits that you hope to realize from this partnership with Microsoft? What are some of the goals that you've set internally and you hope to achieve?
Sure. So out of the box, we're really excited to be able to have direct ship to consumers from our warehouse at the kiosk level, so at our stores. So when a customer comes up and we don't have something on the shelf, our store associates right then and there can capture that sale and ship to any multiple number of recipients that they would like or themselves direct from our kiosk. So that's empowering our associates to really give a much more powerful customer experience.
Do you find that your customers, you mentioned the silos within the organization, do you find that customers gravitate between channels, or are your store customers those that buy on the web, or primarily they're just going to shop on the web, and sort of how are you managing that, whether the customers are different?
Yeah, so we do have some cross-channel customers, of course, and we're still looking into the data as to how accurate that is, and that's tough for any retailer. However, the one thing that I think we're also going to get out of this system is much better visibility into those cross-channel customers. We're going to know, because all of our information will be in one place now, we'll have a much better 360 view around that customer.
And then that'll just not only operationally with inventory, but that also, I imagine, would enable more optimized marketing to those customers.
Absolutely, right. We'll get all of that data in one place, and our marketing will feed from that as well.
Yeah. And then, you're right in the thick of this implementation now. What advice, and you haven't gone live yet, but you said, but what advice maybe would you have for other retailers that are looking to an integration project like this, integrating data across departments, from your firsthand experience?
So from firsthand experience, you have to have buy-in at the top, of course. Our operating committee, which is our executive team, we've been very engaged all the way from the very beginning of the sales cycle and the discovery process. Having a really solid discovery process and being very thorough and selective was really important to us, so that we made sure we got the right partner in Microsoft, but also in RSM, who's our implementer, and they've been great. They've been fabulous for us. So that would be my first set of advice, is make sure you're there. And of course, having a really solid plan to deliver on time is obviously critical in an ERP implementation.
Yeah, could you talk a little bit about internally at Hickory Farms, kind of the process going about, not just choosing the right partner, but then deciding, who owns the projects, and talk a little bit about that internal process when you take on something like this.
Sure. That project really is owned, of course, by IT, but it's really owned by the business partners. And so we put together a technology steering committee that includes our partner RSM, but also Microsoft. Mm-hmm. So we have the manufacturer, our partner, implementer, as well as our senior executive leadership team are all on that steering committee. So it is driven truly from the top, and it is driven down to our subject matter experts from that place.
And then, and especially you hear at events like NRF, just the amount of data that now retailers are collecting, and regardless of channel, and then it could be, customer data, competitor data, industry data. How are you sort of collecting data on your customers and your customers, and then leveraging that data, I guess, between channels too as well, to provide the best experience for your customers? Sure.
Well, again, I will go back to the fact that we are today, in current state, collecting that in several different areas. So from a holistic approach and really trying to build an ecosystem internally to empower our customers to have a great experience, we wanted to get all of that data in one place.
Yeah.
So that really is the goal today, is to deliver that single source of truth.
And then in all of that data in one place is accessible across the organization. So customer service and sales and marketing, and everyone has access to the same.
Absolutely. Yep. Supply chain, kiosks, our associates in our retail stores.
Gotcha. Well, I want to take this opportunity to thank Gordon Jaquay of Hickory Farms for his time, telling us a little bit about their data project that they're partnering with Microsoft. So thanks, Gordon.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Thanks for listening. For more information on today's episode of Total Retail Talks, please visit our podcast channel page for show notes. Total Retail Talks is available on iTunes and Stitcher, but please subscribe to our podcast channel page as well. Lastly, don't forget to connect with us on social at MyTotalRetail for Twitter and at www.facebook.com/MyTotalRetail on Facebook. Until next time, this has been Total Retail Talks.